Well, hello everyone, and thank you for watching this video. Jacob Terrell coming to you from the Terrell Severe Storm Center. We're going to have to watch out for the potential of a few strong to severe thunderstorms next week. And these are my odd looking question marks. I don't think I've ever seen it like that before, but that's what it's showing up as. Okay, looks a little strange, but whatever. So yeah, potential for some severe weather next week, and just going to give you first a little overview here. Um, the day that we're looking at is going to be Wednesday, and we can't rule out activity uh, throughout the day, Wednesday period. But it looks like the best potential for severe weather is going to be Wednesday evening and possibly into the overnight hours Thursday morning. Um, it looks like damaging winds and possibly even a couple of isolated tornadoes are going to be the main concerns. And high uncertainty, that's kind of what we're going to address here. There is still a lot of uncertainty in this threat and the overall extent in this threat. So let's get into show you a couple models, and actually I want to start by looking at the Storm Prediction Center's outlook. This was issued earlier this morning. The Storm Prediction Center, the day 4 through 8 outlook. And as you can see, they are noting the risk for severe weather. Now you see the percentages showing up. That's basically 50, like you see 15% in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So that would basically mean a 15% chance of severe weather occurring somewhere within 25 miles of Tulsa. And as you can see here, the 30% risk for Memphis. Let's just say 30% risk, a little higher. Severe weather occurring within 25 miles of Memphis. Now, um, you may be wondering, well, what about the standard slight risk, the moderate risk, and all that stuff? When it's far out, when the event is still several days away, they do not go with the categorical risk areas. They just kind of outline these general percentage areas, I guess is what you would say, because often when it's several days out, and this would be a good example, this system right here, there is high uncertainty in the overall threat. But so basically they've just got a couple general areas outlined here. The 30% enhancement where the severe weather threat looks to be maybe a little more elevated across the mid to portions of the lower Mississippi Valley. Might even have to shift that a little further north, maybe up there closer to Iowa, maybe. Some of the model runs have seemed to suggest that. And you can see here we are in Indiana. We are within the 15% risk area, 15% chance of severe weather, according to the SPC, within 25 miles of a given point in here. And of course, as we get closer to the event, this is all going to change. Though eventually they're going to be issuing the standard risk areas, the moderate risk, enhanced risk, that kind of thing. We'll be getting to that. Actually, that will begin tomorrow because we'll be only 3 days out from the system, and that's when they start issuing the categorical outlooks. And so you can clearly see, according to the SPC, at least is what they're thinking, the threat is going to be more elevated to our west and southwest, but they've still got us outlined here, and there's still potential that we could see a few severe storms out of this. And so obviously that's why we have some concern, but there are some positives working in our favor, and that's kind of where the uncertainty comes in. One of the situations that we often run into this time of the year, especially, well, November through March, is very limited instability with the severe weather setups that we see, and that certainly appears to be the case. Um, Certainly appears to be the case with this upcoming setup. As you can see, by the time the cold front pushes closer to Indiana, instability is meager at best. There's not a whole lot of it showing up at all. And that looks like maybe under 250 joules at best of surface-based CAPE. The NAM has been a little more aggressive. Of course, this is the most unstable CAPE, but it's been a little more aggressive with instability in general. It's got about 500 joules of most unstable CAPE over Indiana. Now you really want to see the surface-based CAPE when you're looking for a solid, real solid supercell tornado threat. But this isn't bad, especially when you have dynamics that are just screaming strong, and that's the negative that we are working with in the system here. The dynamics are about as strong as they ever get, and so that's the big question is, will the dynamics be strong enough to override the instability issues? When you have CAPE 250 joules at best, well, that's not going to allow the updrafts to grow that much. But then again, when you have strong shear, when you have that real good helicity, it doesn't take much. Those thunderstorms don't have to grow very tall for the shear to just grab a hold of them and let those storms basically take off. But the other limiting factor with that is if there's not enough instability and too much shear, you can end up ripping the thunderstorm updrafts apart, and that can just basically lead to a bunch of rain and not much in the way of storms at all. We're gonna, but just to show you the dynamics here, we're gonna look here at let's do 200 millibar wind and height, and this thing has been slow to load. Give it just a second here. Come on, don't screw up on me now. And come on. Yeah, you can see here, this is wind and height at 200 millibars. This thing is just, I mean, it's just screaming strong. So we've got a lot of wind energy to work with here. We're probably going to have a very strong cranking low-level jet that might help to bring in some additional moisture, maybe even a little bit of instability as well. You can look here at the bulk shear. Let's go bulk shear at 500 millibars. Again, we'll wait here, and yeah, that's very significant. We have about 60-70 knots right over here in central Indiana, even southern parts of the state, 80 knots of shear, and even 90 knots of low-level shear at the time this thing is coming through right around the Louisville area. So that's very sufficient wind shear for organized severe weather. But again, the question is, will it be enough to override the instability issues, and how much instability are we going to see? Because if the instability is just too meager, the threat will be much more limited. However, if we can get a little more instability, and I mean just a little more with these kind of dynamics, the severe weather threat will be more elevated. And so bottom line, there's a lot of questions that still have to be answered. This is kind of a typical scenario when you're this far away from the storm system, especially this time of the year when the 48 hours are really crucial to determining what kind of instability you'll get. So we'll know more about this system as we get closer and closer to Wednesday. So we're just going to basically we're going to have to watch all the model runs very carefully. Sorry, we've already been through this. We're just going to have to watch the runs very carefully as they come in. Of course, we want to remind everybody that November is our secondary tornado season. And as we look back just yesterday, or no, I think it was Friday, as we look back Friday, the 10-year anniversary of the Evansville tornado, which killed 25 people at night, and of course the tornadoes just a couple years ago, November 2013. Very clear reminders that this November season can mean business. And we're not saying that the same type of setup, if severe weather occurs, we're not saying it's the same type of setup as what we saw in 2013 or Evansville 2005 is going to occur. But I'm just saying that to remind everybody that we do get severe weather in November. It's not uncommon. So continue to check back frequently with us. Make sure you are paying attention with other sources, trustworthy sources. Again, a lot of uncertainty in this threat. We just don't know how bad it's going to get. We will continue to keep you updated, though.